Look what I have here, folks. This is the Mantis Laser Academy training kit. And it's brand new. I mean, this thing just started shipping in mid-March 2021. Just about a week and a half ago. You know, when I first saw this online, I was like really impressed. I'm like, Mantis and the Mantis X10 is an impressive shooting training aid. It's almost like having a personal trainer popped inside your own smartphone. Well, the same folks at Mantis made this thing called the Laser Academy Training Kit. And so when I first saw this and saw a little demo online, I contacted the folks at Mantis and I asked, because I'm a past user, I've done some videos on their stuff, I asked if I could get a little discount because I'd love to try this thing out. They did one step better, or 10 steps better. They sent me this for free. Now, having told you that, it's important that you know that, but at the same time, I'm also going to let you know this. I take pride in the videos that I produce, and my loyalty is to you and being able to trust the equipment that we're going to use, that it actually is going to be very useful for us. And so I am going to give this an absolutely honest and fair shake. Now, I literally received this just about 2 days ago, and that gave me enough time to test it out, try it out, and learn how it functions. Let's start by looking at what's in the kit. I'm going to take off the sleeve here. Now, inside the box, we have a number of different things. This nice little pouch here contains pretty much what we need to get busy to start using this thing. On the top here, we have a little bit of mounting tape. You just squeeze off, like I've already done, a little bit, and affix that to the targets that you receive in the kit. And it probably won't remove any paint from the walls in your house. Now, this, by the way, is a dry fire only type of training kit. And this one in particular came with a 9mm Luger laser case. And this works pretty slick. As the firing pin hits the base here where the primer would be, it emits a little laser pulse. You can also purchase or get this kit with other calibers, 380 ACP, 45 ACP, 40, 10mm, and the 223 556. There is a small, very portable tripod right here, a mount for the smartphone, and this little dowel is what you use to remove the laser cartridge from the firearm when you're done using it. Also inside the box, there's a second smartphone adapter, smartphone holder. This is what I have been using, and it really securely holds onto the smartphone. And a very nice full-size tripod. This is also what I've been using while I'm testing this thing out. And then our targets. There are 2 sets of targets, a very small set right here, didn't even open this one up yet, and then a full-size set of targets. This isn't just normal printer paper, it's pretty thick, kind of like a thin cardboard, I guess. And this one right here is your control target. I'll talk more about this later, but this is an important one to use. You're probably always going to use this. Now, the other thing is, remember, this is not made for live fire. So you're not going to be punching holes in these things, and they should last you quite a long time as long as you take care of them a little bit. And then we have your traditional bullseye target. An IDPA target, of course this is a reduced size IDPA. An IPSC, reduced size target. A B27 size, reduced size target. In fact, a couple of those. And, a number of different ones. This one I think is going to be fun. Hostage 01. Make sure you put the round in the right place. A dot torture test. A silhouette headshot target. Now this one's interesting. A dartboard game target. And a number hunt target. FBI qualifications, anyone? And then a second one of these standard bullseye targets as well. Now, while I was testing or experimenting with all this new equipment, there's a couple of things that I learned, a couple of tips that I'll share with you as part of this review. First of all, while I already have a Mantis X10, this is a completely separate training tool that is not part of the Laser Academy training kit. They're completely separate. You don't have to have this to use that. The next thing I wanted to let you know is that when you're setting this thing up on that tripod and you secure your smartphone to that tripod and you place your target or targets up on a wall, and one of the things you're going to want to do, remember, is to place that control target out there and then the target of your choice relatively close to it. You're going to want to place that tripod with the camera as close as possible to the target or targets so that they both fit inside the frame of that camera, but don't bother backing that tripod out too far because you're not shooting real rounds at this thing. As long as you have a clear view of the target that you're going to be shooting at, then the Mantis Laser Training Academy camera should be very, very close to those targets. Secondly, or next, make sure the room or the environment that you're going to be shooting in isn't too bright. You'll get an indicator that it's too bright. You'll see this red halo or red haze kind of start showing up in the camera view, and that's telling you that the room or the environment is too bright. You might have trouble using this if you were going to try to use it outdoors. And I'll try that just to see how it goes. Next, don't forget to set the distance between the target and you, the shooter. This is important because this little Laser Academy training kit and the software built into this app will estimate the drop of that bullet, and it also really seems to take into account the bore to sight offset. And if you have it set at the default of 1 yard, then you may be, while you're shooting, thinking this thing isn't going where I am aiming. And that probably really is because the app is adjusting for that bore offset and it's thinking you are only 1 yard, the default, away from the target. I like to shoot pistols and with this kit, this tool, I like to shoot that normally at about 7 yards. I do that oftentimes with my live fire out at the range, about 7 yards, and so set that distance at 7 yards on the app. Anything much beyond 7 yards or probably 10 yards in a house might be pretty hard for you to even find a clear place to train with the Laser Training Academy. And the last thing I want to tell you about is that while you will be 7, maybe 10 yards away from the target, and your smartphone running the Laser Training Academy app is going to be really close to the target, that may sound like it's going to be a real pain because you'll have to go up and fiddle with your camera all the time and with the app all the time. That's not the case. These guys have thought this thing through, and that is what the control target is for. You see, when you mount this, you'll be able to start the training exercise or the drill by shooting this once, and then the drill will run. You'll hear voices. They'll be talking to you, ready, beep and 1, 2, 3, whatever, those sort of things. And then when you're finished with the drill, you can stop by shooting this again. And you don't have to walk up to the app hardly ever if you don't really want to. And if you simply want to clear your target, wipe out all those shots that have been placed in it, those laser shots, just click or shoot the clear button, if you want to call it that, on this target right over here. And it works really slick. Well, that is the Mantis Laser Training Academy kit in a nutshell. Let's go to my indoor range that I set up just for the Mantis Laser Training Academy test. Hey, welcome to my indoor shooting range. I set this up just for this video. Thought it might be appropriate. As you can see here, I already have my Mantis Laser Training Academy app sitting here running at about the right distance, and I have 2 targets. Well, actually I have 1 control and 1 actual target. And what you might also notice is that this target is of a bad guy that we need to do something about. Now I've got my FNX 9mm pistol here today. I have already loaded it with the laser training cartridge, and in all other ways it is safe and ready for use. Now the first drill that I'll be running today is the open shooting single target, and it has now calibrated. It sees both of these pieces of paper, these targets, and I'm ready to go. I have also already set this to show that I am going to be shooting from a distance of 4 yards. I'm using 4 yards today just for the purposes of the video. And now I can control everything from my shooting position with that control target. Let's begin. I'll shoot the start. How about we disarm them? And 1 more to the top. And I'll stop. Let's take a look at how we did. It's a good thing that our hostage made it through unscathed. The fastest shot in that series was my first shot. And our disarming shot worked out well as well. Now this is a fun one. Let's try the compressed surprise break. Now the way that the compressed surprise break works is we're going to hear a beep, a buzzer sound, and that's the indication that I should be firing. So we'll start off, I think there's 5 rounds on this, so there is 5 rounds on this. We'll start off with the first round as if I am absolutely ready to fire. I'm telling the bad guy to drop that knife, don't move a muscle, those sort of things. And maybe I see that that bad guy is moving a muscle and I have no time at all. I just got to fire and take care of that bad situation. And then we're going to try a couple from the low ready to see how that goes as well. Let's go ahead and get this started. Drop it.
Ready. 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 Ready.
Score the low ready.
Ready.
And now let's take a look at how we did. My first shot got the hostage. I lost 35 points for that, and it detected that. That's very cool. Very, very nice work on the app's part. Not good work on my part. All right, now let's try the open training multiple target. This is another drill. This is one of the pro drills that gets unlocked with your code. Let's go ahead and see how well it does here. I'm going to start, and what it does different. Let's take a look at that. I'll fire the start. I'm going to go left to right. Now the right target. Head on the left target. Torso, left target. Head, right target. Disarm them, right target. I'm going to keep going back here. Left target, right target, disarm. Let's stop. Take a look at the results. Now this is interesting. You're going to see that we have two targets detected, and they are actually being separately scored. We've got a green target, that's my left target, and a purple target, that's my right target. Very cool, very cool. Well, that gives us a good overview of the Mantis Laser Academy training kit. You know, there are quite a number of drills, and with a little bit of imagination, you can make up even more. For example, you know, there's a couple of dual drills where you would be maybe competing against another shooter, but here is another idea. You know, I saw this hunt drill, or this hunt target, I should say, and one thing that we did similar to this years ago while I was at the range, this is under a live fire thing, there are various numbers, 1, 2s, and 3s, and there's various shapes, squares, circles, and hexagons. Well, what we did is we took a piece of paper and cut them into roughly equal-sized pieces, and we would put something just like this, square 1 square, 2 hexagon, 3 circle, whatever, and have all these things covered. And then what you do is you draw out 3, 4, 5, 10 different selections and write them down in order. Selection 1, selection 2, selection 3. Now you got to have 2 people for this to work well. Otherwise you really got to have a very good memory. But then what you do is that person calls out something like 1 hexagon, and you've got to find 1 hexagon. And then that person then calls out 2 circle. Oh, you got to find this one. What really makes it fun is where your opponent, or the person you're shooting with, draws your selection, and you draw that person's selection. And you see who has the best time, who has the best score. And that's kind of fun, and you could certainly do that with this target right here. You know, for outdoors, I was talking about that earlier. For outdoor use, it just didn't go. The situation, of course, was it was just too bright. I tried it under full light conditions. the Mantis app just could not ever see the target. It was trying to calibrate and trying to see it, and it never could do that. It couldn't do that. So then I later on, when it got a little bit darker, I put it in kind of some shaded area, somewhat shaded area, and it still had the same problem. You know, that's not a real big issue for me. This is made for, I would say, indoors applications, which are always a lot less bright than you are outdoors. And the other thing about that is, you know, even if you could get the app to recognize your target, it's very likely that the laser would never be seen by the camera either. It takes a really, really bright and powerful laser to be seen in a daylight condition. And, you know, I know someone's going to say, I saw a video or I tested this and I could see it. Well, yeah, you'll see it from a short distance when you're really, really close to it. Or if you're in a shaded condition, yeah, you'll see it. But if you get out, you know, 7 yards, 10 yards away from it, or more, like what you might want to do in an outdoor situation, I have a terrible time seeing lasers that might be mounted on a firearm on the target much beyond a couple of yards, a couple of meters. So I don't have any real big gripes about that. Overall, the Mantis works just as expected. There were no problems with it, and the app never crashed. I can't say that about all the apps I have tried. Now, if the folks at Mantis are watching, and I hope you are, here's another idea for a future improvement. How about combining the technologies of the Mantis Laser Academy with the Mantis X10? I own both now, and it would be cool to have one app that lets me do dry fire drills under the Laser Academy, but I also receive feedback on how well I am squeezing that trigger, how I am drawing from the holster, and all these sort of things. I don't know how possible that is, but just a little seed for thought. Overall, I definitely give it a thumbs up. Why? Well, number one, it works. Really does work as advertised, as expected. Number two, it's fun. If the weather's bad, it's raining, it's really, really windy, which happens a lot around here, or don't have enough ammo for some of the things I want to do, I can break out the Mantis Laser Training Academy and have a little bit of practice there in the house. And the other reason why I give it a thumbs up is because I can get in practice with my gun, a real gun, using my holster and in my home. Now, the importance there is, you know, sometimes I've gone and done some shooting in these simulation environments and a laser type of gun, and sometimes they're modeled after Glocks, which I don't have. I don't own a Glock. As you saw, I was shooting the FN, and so practice with that Glock, even if it was a real Glock that has been modified, doesn't really do me too much good to learn how to shoot a Glock really well when my firearm, my pistol, is a different gun. Number two, it is a real gun. It feels exactly the same. It's real, right? And the part about my own home, it's not that I don't have to go somewhere to do this, but what's more important is I can actually set up a scenario in my home that might simulate a home defense situation. And I can get in some practice with some nice scoring feedback using the Mantis Laser Academy. Well, if you have any questions or comments, hey, please leave those in the comment section below. I'd be happy to answer your questions. Thanks for watching.